All right, guys. So while Jason's doing that, I just want to get moving here. I apologize again for this delay. So real quick, go for no. What this is it was a process that just happened by chance, really. My frustration working with many offices over the last 15 years was trying to get people to ask about our financial services. It doesn't seem to be an issue to get people to talk about home, auto, umbrellas. Frankly, life insurance should be included in that conversation with everything anyways. Too often, life insurance, in my opinion, or financial services, both of those are viewed as an afterthought. It gets too much like McDonald's, if you will. I see many times going to a fast food joint, again, being a fat kid, believe it or not, I don't eat McDonald's, but too often we'll see, would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that? And so we need to make sure that we're not just building that habit, but more than anything, I want to create habit of asking. So at this point, go for no for me is to create habit so that we're asking and we're not just waiting for that perfect opportunity. Which leads me to part two. Part two is free energy. There's a lot of talk, Allstate's promoted that for years, about leveraging free energy. Free energy is a great opportunity for us to share what we do. And what I mean by free energy is that's if you've ever been in a marriage, relationship, anything like that, when you're feeling that mojo going, leverage it, you know? And so too often we've taught the staff that, hey, wait for that ball to be teed up and crush it. Years ago, I coached Little League softball. And through Little League softball, I learned that the girls would just stand at the batter's box and get walked. They would let every pitch come by, and they knew if they waited long enough, the other pitcher wasn't skilled enough to throw constant strikes, that they'd get on base. And this was very, very frustrating to me. So with my youngest daughter, I offered her money if she would just swing the bat. I didn't even care what the pitch looked like, just swing the freaking bat, and let's see if we can get some hits. Because nothing was being learned by waiting for that perfect pitch and then not swinging when it came. So I've kind of transpired that into go for no. What go for no is simple. It is paying staff to ask. So our true intent here is not to get a no, but we pay them for no's. Now, the concept behind this, where my theory on this is it helps staff to overcome the fear of objection. What we've seen in offices where we've rolled this out, and I'll get into the details of it here in a second, staff are coming back and saying, oh my gosh, I'm no longer afraid to ask. Oh my gosh, getting a no is fun. And it's so cool to see a staff member excited about rejection. Because when we're excited and we don't fear rejection, when we'll take it face on, we're that much more successful. The answer is always no if we don't ask. So we've got to ask if we expect a yes. So with that said, what we did is we rolled out, and this happened with an LSP about 3 years ago. I said, okay, I'll make a deal with you. And I want to time out real quick here on compensation. We as EFSs, life specialists, whatever you want to call it, cannot pay the staff. Jason, can you mute those other lines, please? And the slides are all distorted right now too, it looks like. So we'll figure this slides out, guys. We're rookies. I apologize for this this Zoom call. We'll get this better going forward. But what we did is we offered, hey, if you can get me 20 no's, I felt that was fair. We'll reward you. So what the agent and I did in this case is the agent paid $50 for 20 no's. And it wasn't 20 no's in a row, it was just 20 no's. So it could be, you know, asking 20 times. They might get 3 or 4 yeses, that ruins that whole thing. So that was phase one, is paying for 20 no's. Second part to that is along the way, what we saw was she was getting yeses. And that's exactly what I expected, is when you swing the bat, no matter how the pitch comes in, you're going to hit the ball, right? So with every ask, we started to improve upon how do we ask, because it wasn't fair for her to say, hey, can I just ask, do you have life insurance? Well, we're going to get a no when we ask a yes or no question. We want to use open-ended questions to find out what's going on. So to get into someone's head, and I'm sorry guys, I'm jumping around, my phone's blowing up with people trying to figure out this call. So I do apologize for this being a little scattered right now, but.
Hey Judd, we're also live broadcasting on Facebook right now. So if anybody is listening and wants to jump on, they can see at least my feed on the Facebook Live page.
Okay. So back to all this softball talk. We just want them swinging the bat. Now, the beef I have, and I've seen a lot of offices start to use a model of go for no. And go for no, again, is just overcoming the fear of asking. And the problem is we need to fine tune how we ask. So this leads to the next part. And I don't know if the slides are going to work right now. And if they don't, we've posted this on the page. It'll be out there. My amazing partner, Jerry Morales, and he may or may not be on the call right now. I don't know if he made it through the door of 100 people. But Jerry created a script that we use. And so when we use this in our offices, we make sure that the staff use the script, they ask, and if they can document who they asked using the script, and we can go back and listen to recorded calls if necessary, the agent will compensate them for their 20 no's. Again, the agent has to compensate them. Unfortunately, the EFS with Allstate rules cannot. So the script goes like this. First off, what we've learned is the number one objection people were getting is they have life insurance at work. So sales 101 is the first one to the objection wins. So we ask, where do you have your life insurance outside of work? We automatically overcome that objection with that question. Where do you have your life insurance outside of work? Now remember, it's not a yes or no question. When we ask a yes or no question, we paint ourselves into a corner. So we're asking an open-ended question, where is your life insurance outside of work? And if they reply that, well, I've only got it at work, or I've got it at State Farm, or I got it over here, pivot right into when was it last reviewed. Now we're going to get into some Q&A and role playing here in a second, but I would imagine for most of us on the call, and I've seen this a lot even with just Allstate offices and agents in particular, we have not reviewed our policies on ourselves in quite some time. I've been in multiple offices where the Allstate agent doesn't even know how much coverage they have. So that's an excellent follow-up question, is when did you last have it reviewed? Because I can promise you many people have not. So if they say they have life insurance, when was it last reviewed? Step 3, no matter what they say, so even if they said they don't have any, they have it at work, they've got it at State Farm, we always follow up with, that's exactly why I asked. Now, Jerry put that bullet point in there in our script due to some training he had back in the day. He used to do door-to-door cancer cells, and he was struggling getting into homes. And he talked to one of his managers who was just crushing it in sales. The guy said, hey, no matter what they say to you, say, hey, that's exactly why I'm here. That's exactly why I asked, and reiterate what their concern is. So Jerry gave it a try. He went to a house, knocked on a door, said, hey, I'm with such and such company. And they said, actually, we just signed up for cancer insurance with Aflac. And Jerry said, well, that's exactly why I'm here. We're seeing a lot of people are with Aflac. Do you have a second for me to review that with you? Yeah, come on in. Immediately when we use the phrase, that's exactly why I asked, we position ourselves with the customer. We're now on their team. I've seen staff using that phrase with P&C cells, whatever it be, it positions us into a very, very good light to proceed with the conversation. So we tell them that's exactly why I asked, reiterate what their concern is, and pivot right into, you know what, we've got a person in our office who is excellent at this. I'm going to have Judd give you a call. What day next week works best for you? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He's got some time in the afternoon. Okay, so it's a real quick script. It can be embedded right into any sales process, someone making a payment for their policy, every conversation. The key here is most staff were afraid to ask because they did not know how to ask. So the fears we saw was the fear of rejection. I don't know how to ask. And the last fear is the fear of yes. The fear of yes is one we run into all the time is what if someone says, yeah, you know what? I would like life insurance. I would like a meeting for financial services. Oh, crud, what do I do now? So that's our next pivot was pivot right to the appointment. When we're doing Go for No, when we're using this script, we're not using it to sell a product. We're using it to get an appointment. So I'm going to back up real quick there. About 6 months ago, I had an agent, LSP in an agent's office using this process, and she asked a gentleman, where do you have your life insurance outside of work? And his reply was, I don't, I just retired. And she says, oh, great. And this is where, with training that we do at the offices with my agents here in town, we work a lot on pivots. And she pivoted right into, well, what are you doing with your retirement? What are your plans? So keep in mind, Go for No isn't just to get life insurance, it's to start the conversation. We should never fear asking about life insurance. We don't need to sugarcoat it and say, hey, we've got this product that does this and that, and avoid the word life insurance. We need to be proud that we sell life insurance. We need to be proud that we help families. So just go right for it, close with intention. And if the tracks get sidetracked a little bit, like in this case, the guy retired, pivot into retirement. So she pivoted into retirement and he said, you know what, I don't have anyone helping me. I've just kind of always done it myself. Well, we've got a guy here at the office that's really good at helping people with their retirement. In fact, he does my retirement. Would you say I let him give you a call and see if he can help? Yeah, that'd be great. I called that gentleman and he had just retired as an executive at Nike. We have year to date moved $2 million and we've got $6.5 million more that will be rolling over in the next 2 years. And they're coming in as the stock options. Again, the script that we're using, this process we're using is just to get that momentum going. So Go for No, recapping that real quick, was designed to help overcome the fear of objection. And then, I don't know if you guys have read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is all about developing habit. The more we ask, the more we ask, the more we ask, it becomes habitual. So I've got in my wife's office, her staff have become really good about asking everyone they talk to. And it's been a lot of fun and they've tried different promotions. So getting into the compensation again with the Go for No, we've actually allowed them to compete with each other. Whoever gets the most no's for the month, the office buys them a treat or whatever, and whoever gets the most yeses, everyone else, has to buy something or however they play it. But what we've seen is it's become fun and now they're asking consistently. And the best thing I could encourage all of you to do, the agents on here, is with Go for No, you need to spearhead it in your office. You need to hold the staff accountable. And a fun game may be to see if someone can get 20 no's in a row, because I've yet to see that happen. The one we just ran into last week, girl told me she could do 20 in a row. She got 7 yeses and 13 no's. Guys, all it is about is just opening your mouth and talking. So with that said, hopefully we've got this thing figured out here, Jason. I want to open up to role playing. If anyone out there would like to role play through this with us, I'd like to go there and then we'll follow up with some Q&A. If you'd like to volunteer, just kind of throw it over here in the chat section and we'll go through some scenarios. Or if you've got questions as well, I'm fine with that too. All right, everyone's kind of quiet right now. Kevin Johnson, that a boy.
Kevin, I'll unmute you here in just a sec.
So again, what we're trying to do, and I can't drill it home enough, is just help people become more comfortable with asking, what is the best pitch for someone young? So again, we stay on script no matter what the customer is that or who they are. Where do you have your life insurance outside of work? If they're young, hopefully they have a job. And quite frankly, with Allstate, if they're not working, it's going to be difficult to get a policy on them unless they're a child. So where do you have your life insurance outside of work? Well, I don't. I'm still young. Perfect. That's exactly why I asked. We find a lot of young people don't have life insurance.
Hey,
It's a
Judd,
perfect time to get it.
apologize for the interruption, but Kevin is unmuted.
All right. It's a perfect time to get it. And we're locking in, better insurable rates typically because you're young. Now, one other thing I'm going to bring on there is people that, and I'm glad you just asked that, Maria, people that don't believe in life insurance. You guys, here's the best part of what we do. Not everyone is a candidate for what we do. It's okay to say next and move on. I do not believe in squeezing a sponge until we get a drop out of it. We need to just be willing to move on to the next one. But if we're not diligently asking, then it makes it more difficult. You know, when an agent or a staff member is asking 3 or 4 people a month, they better learn how to close. When you're asking 50 to 100 people a month, my 5-year-old son, I don't have a 5-year-old anymore, but when he was 5, my 5-year-old could have done this job. You know, we just need to open our mouth. All right, Kevin, you there?
Yeah.
All right. What you going to be the customer or the agent?
Well, whatever you prefer.
Let's have you be the agent in this case. I just got done making a payment. You notice that I'm married with 3 kids. Roll.
Okay. Hey, Judd, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. So now I've noticed that you're married, and how are the kids doing, by the way?
Oh, they're doing great, man. Thanks for asking.
That's awesome. One thing we like to do in our office is we like to ask about your current life insurance needs.
Okay.
Do you currently have any life insurance?
Yeah, I believe I do, actually. My wife
Okay.
does all that.
Okay. Do you have it through your work?
I'm sure I do, but again, my wife handles all that.
Okay. Is she around?
No, she's not right now. She's actually shopping with my daughter.
Oh,
She's
that's
going to go back to school, so they're out doing some shopping.
okay. That's no problem. What we basically do is we could take a look at what you guys currently have and just do like a policy review for you.
Yeah, let me check with her and see if she's interested in that.
Okay. We have a life expert in our office. I can have him give you a call if you'd like.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, awesome. When would be a good time for him to give you a call?
This time tomorrow's perfect.
Okay, awesome. And Judd, just basically, he's going to ask what you currently have. He's going to review kind of that current policy and then look for your future and current needs and go from there.
Perfect. I appreciate
Awesome.
that.
You're welcome. Have a good day, and I'll talk with you later.
All right. So what do you think about how that went?
Pretty good. I was trying to handle your objection that she wasn't home. And then, like you said, tell him that we want to do a policy review. And then kind of just confirm that my life specialist could call.
All right. So someone just put this in the chat, and I'm going to encourage you to get on script. I think
Okay.
you had the right idea, right? And so I will say this, Jerry may or may not be out there, as I said before. Jerry Morales, who put the script together, by far is the best life insurance salesperson I've ever met in my life. Okay. And it's a proven script. It takes about 22 seconds to use. The problem is when we roll into a conversation or a sales pitch with close-ended questions, you're going to get painted right into a corner.
Right.
I was trying to help you out, but you started off with a yes, no, do you have life insurance? What we want to do is get the customer talking. And that's why we say, where do you have it outside of work? Or even if you don't like that phrase, where is your life insurance? You want them talking about it. You don't want to no, yes, no, right? So that becomes an issue there. But I will say what you did an excellent job of is just being persistent.
Okay, thanks.
You weren't afraid. You took it straight on, and that's what we need to do.
Today he's off on Thursdays. Is there something I can help you with?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the feedback.
Beautiful. Thank you for volunteering. Anyone else want to try? And I'm getting over here in the chat. What about when someone says, I have New York Life outside of work and it was reviewed 2 months ago? Perfect. Now, let me pause there too. A lot of times, don't be afraid to sell with stories. I'm a big storyteller. Okay. So what I might use there, if you don't have your own story, use someone else's. I just recently had a situation in our office. It was an Allstate policy, believe it or not, where the customer passed away. And we found out after they passed away that the ex-wife was still listed as beneficiary. This gentleman had been married for 27 years to his new wife. In the last 27 years, never updated beneficiaries. He'd gone through policy reviews with the agent. And for some reason, they never looked at beneficiary. They talked about coverages. That's a great opportunity to say, that's exactly why I asked. I'm glad to see that you had this policy reviewed. A lot of people don't. So congratulations. I really am happy to see that you're having this reviewed. It doesn't hurt, though, to have a second opinion. We've noticed in our office, sometimes we'll find little flaws that might be in the policy. And a lot of times, Judd will find policies that are perfect for your situation. You know, you might sit down, look at that New York Life policy and realize that that's exactly what you need. There's no harm in having someone else take a look at that. A lot of times double checking policies will tidy up any loose ends. The other phrase I use a lot is we're going to educate. We're not here to sell. He's going to educate you on your options. You know, there's many options out there, and I'm sure your guy at New York Life has done a fabulous job, but we want to make sure we do a fair job educating.
Hey, Judd,
Yeah.
I apologize. Can you pivot and answer Daniel's question to everybody from the chat? He wrote great stuff, trying to understand the logistics of initiating the process. Can you explain how can you explain how you explain to the LSPs and how you will pay them the $50? So can you kind of go into how the compensation side of things work and what the specifics?
All right, so yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Every office can do this differently. I've seen where one of my agents is actually giving a $1 bill for every no and $5 for every yes. Okay, I mean, it's your model to work with, and that's instantly paid. In my wife's office, she pays them at the end of the month, and every 20 no's equals $100 in her case, and every yes equals $100. And so it can become quite expensive if you go that route. Now, with that said, she's a smaller book, and we've been blessed that it's worked out. She's sitting at 80,000 or 70,000 in production credit year to date by getting staff engaged. The whole concept here, again, is just to find a fun way to get staff asking. So if it's $50 for 20 no's, if you want to do 20 in a row, I discourage that just because it's hard for someone to get 20 in a row. But once they hit 20, whatever your incentive is. Second part to compensation is knowing what motivates your staff. We struggled in one office to get staff to ask, throwing the money at them, doing whatever. We came up with the idea that if you can get your 20 no's, you can have the day before the 4th of July off. And every freaking person in that office started asking. We need to know what it is that motivates the staff. What it's not always money. A lot of times it's time off. In fact, you guys, for a lot of agents, time off might cost you less than having to pay money. So however you want to skew that, and we'll talk more about that going further in other webinars or through the Facebook page as well. But it's really up to you how you want to compensate on that. There's quite a few agents on here that are already using a go for no process, and I'd encourage you to reach out and see what they're doing that works in their office as well.
Hey, Judd.
Tracking for the no's, we have a spreadsheet that I think Jason's going to post to share. A lot of agents are using it where they just list out who they talked to, the results, yes, no, and how that all worked.
Hey, Judd, Jason, can you hear me?
Yep, please go.
Hey, so let's do this, brother. Real quick, let's answer, where was it? I believe it was Brittany's question about the incurable cancer. Brittany, the best way I would answer that is all you can do is offer prayers and sympathy to that family and just let them know you're there for them, just to keep you posted. And that's about all you can do in situations like that, unfortunately. So I just wanted to touch on that. But if you want to role play, I'll be the customer and you be the agent if you want to do that real quick for everybody so we can see your style.
With me?
Yep. I'll be the customer.
All right. So Jason, just again, want to thank. So before I jump into that too, you guys, this can be thrown in anywhere in the conversation, in my opinion. We're obviously not going to ask every single person. If someone's screaming at us, probably not the right time to ask. But just getting in that habit of asking. So in this case, Jason just came in, made a payment. Hopefully he's not habitually late on payments because that may not be the right customer. But it's not our job to spend someone else's money. So, Jason, I appreciate you coming in today. As you know, I'm just here helping with payments. This isn't something I typically do, but I did want to ask you, where do you have your life insurance outside of work?
With Allstate and MetLife.
You have it with Allstate and MetLife. Very good. So, Jason, when was the last time you had that reviewed?
You know, that's a good question. I really don't remember.
Okay, that's exactly why I asked you. We see a lot of people don't review their policies. In fact, too often I find that people don't even know how much coverage they have. So Jason, what I would suggest, we have a gentleman here in our office by the name of Jason that helps customers with their life insurance. He's very, very talented at what he does. His job, though, is to educate you on your options. He's not here to push a product. He's going to help you understand what you have and make sure it best suits your needs. His assistant's going to reach out to you. Is Tuesday or Thursday next week best for you?
Tuesdays and Thursdays typically aren't good, but my question is, what is he going to educate me about?
Well, what I'd like him to do is go over your policies with you and educate you on what coverages you have. First off, to make sure that that's a proper coverage for you. Sometimes we've even found that people have more coverage than they need. So we're going to make sure that we've got the right balance of coverage set in place for you.
Cool.
The other part of that is, Jason, there's multiple policies available out there. You know, we've got variations of policies that people can have. And I want to make sure that you understand the options that are available, not just with what you got, but what's out there, and make sure it's the most suited policy for you.
Cool. So did everybody see what Judd just did? He pivoted to 2 days in a week schedule, trying to narrow it down. So Judd, what I'd like you to do now is explain why that's important, one. Two, also, what is the value of doing a review with other carriers and making sure they bring their policies with us to see what we're actually dealing with, as opposed to what they think they have?
All right. So the big part here is, for me, giving options is, guys, what we do, and I put this on Facebook the other day, it reminded me of my kids. What we do is a lot like raising little kids. People need options. People don't feel sold when you give options. Let them make the choice. When I'm presenting mutual funds, annuities, whatever, I always have an ABC. And that's the same thing I do trying to present the sell for life insurance. So again, we're presenting at this point, we're trying to sell an appointment, not necessarily a policy. So my options to the customer is Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday. Many times they'll come back and say Tuesday, Thursday doesn't work. Well, what works for you? Wednesday's better. Perfect. Get you on for Wednesday. They're making the decision at that point. All right, Hughes, do you got any input you'd like to share on this?
Well, a couple of things Judd pointed out is too many times we don't assume a close, like scheduling the appointment. So don't ask, give them some choices. Is mornings or afternoons better? Start narrowing the gap a little bit to allow the customer, like he just said, Tuesdays and Thursdays don't work. Wednesdays work better. Perfect. If you at least start giving options from a scheduling standpoint, you should start seeing a little more push and activity in the appointments. That's my opinion. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but the bottom line is, what is a definition of failure in most people's minds? Well, in what we're trying to teach, it's not asking. It's as simple as that. Always control what? The controllables. What can we not control? The uncontrollables, which are what? Whether or not a customer agrees to meet with us, talk to us, or their reaction in general. The only thing we can control is, back to Judd's point in the go for the no, asking. That is what we can control. And if you start doing that on a more frequent, consistent basis, the yeses will come. So for any of you that have questions at any time, feel free to post them on our site. Reach out to us personally. That's what we're here for. Maria just posted, make sure you call the day before to confirm. Confirming appointments is vital. Whoever scheduled the appointment, in my opinion, needs to own up to the responsibility of confirming that appointment for their financial professional. Make sure you're calling 24 hours prior to that appointment to remind them. We all get busy. We all have kids. We lose track of time. That is life, unfortunately. But making sure you do that. Follow up with the client. Lee just put, what is follow up? How many times appointments are set? Call back. My general rule of thumb is I let the client dictate that. If you send us a lead, call within 24 hours. I call, leave a message. If not heard back, 72 hours, then a week out. And after 3 unsuccessful attempts, we usually send the lead back to the individual that said it. From an appointment standpoint, I usually get a feel from the client on how much time they need. Would you like me to follow up in a week is usually my general answer. And they go, no, I need 2 weeks or a month. They will determine it, and then you just need to track it and make sure you're following up timely. Anything else, Judd?
Do we have any other volunteers for role play?
I
Jake?
nominate Maria. Maria, if you're there, if you'd like to volunteer, we'd love to role play with you.
Well, while we're waiting for somebody to volunteer for role playing, Misty Everett had a question.
Yeah, I-
Go ahead, John.
just about to answer that. So one other thing I didn't touch on, going back to how we at least my agents compensate for appointments. I've posted this on here, or I think Laura Harris may have posted it a while back, but we have a definition of what a qualified appointment is. And face-to-face is what we qualify as a qualified appointment. And typically, if they're married, we want both spouses there. It's very difficult to sell a policy to someone when we're missing one half of the team. Over the phone is extremely difficult. Later on, if you guys would like, we can go through our process of how we present life insurance. I've got a presentation I do to explain indexed universal life, fixed universal life, whole life, and it's drawn out. I walk the client through a kindergarten presentation. Very difficult to do over the phone, though. So the success rate is much, much higher if we do it in person. So my pivot on that, if someone says, hey, it's really hard for me to meet. I just had this happen to me about 3 weeks ago. I had a guy say, my wife and I don't have good schedules where, we conflict with each other a lot. Can you do Sunday afternoon? Now I prefer not to do a Sunday. So I just explained to him the importance of meeting together. And I said, there are so many different options that we need to look at. It's easiest to sit down and do that together. I mean, frankly, with Allstate, we've got 13 to 20 different options available to you. And I want to make sure that they all jive properly. So with that said, is there a time during the week that we can make this work? I'm only asking for an hour of your time. And he went from only being able to do Sundays to a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And we ended up writing the policy. We've got to pin them down. People don't give the same pushback to their dentist or their doctor. We have got to view ourselves in that same light. We are as important to them as their dentist or doctor. They're not going to tell their dentist or doctor, hey, can you check my teeth over the phone? It's done in person and it's done during working hours.
And I will add this, Judd. Can you hear me still?
Yep.
The other thing about phone appointments versus face-to-face, it is hard to sell value to a client over the phone. If they sit down with you and explain the power of value and what you mean of pure education, if we can educate a person in face-to-face, at least in the first appointment, phone appointment follow-ups to go over what we discussed become easier. But if the initial appointment's over the phone, it's going to be harder to show true value of what we're trying to do for clients moving forward. I believe Maria's ready to volunteer if we can get her live, Woody.
Can you hear me?
There she is.
Hi, Jason.
Hello,
Can you
my
hear me?
dear. Yep, we can hear you, my dear.
Okay, so am I a customer or I'm the agent?
Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I would like for you to role play with Judd, if you don't mind, and you be actually the agent, because I'd like to give Maria props. Maria has done a very good job with her Allstate career and how she handles value proposition to her customers. And I think it'd be good for y'all to hear Maria from an agent perspective in this case, if that's okay. So Judd, give her a scenario. Yeah, give her a scenario.
Let's do the payment one again.
Payment's perfect. That's what you guys get a lot of. So good.
Okay. Hi. Good morning, Allstate Insurance. This is Maria. How can I help you?
Hey Maria, it's Judd again. I'm sorry. I suck at getting my payments made on time. So I need to get that done real quick if you got a second.
Sure, not a problem. Let's see. I see that I verified the address, your phone number, and then, okay, so you want to pay the auto, the home? What are we paying?
I'm gonna pay the auto, fast forward, auto's paid, now where?
Okay, so you're paying the home now? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm paying the auto and I've paid it. You've taken my payment. Where are you going from
So
here?
what do you call? Okay, so this is the reference number. Thank you for the payment, Judd. Let me ask you another quick question. Where do you have your life insurance outside of work?
Gosh, I actually have it at State Farm.
State Farm. Okay, and when was the last time you had it reviewed with your State Farm agent?
I don't even know who my agent is. It's been a
That's
long time.
Okay, that's exactly what I'm asking. I would like to review that with you to make sure your coverages are the right fit for you. And just FYI, I tell my clients all the time, we have a financial expert in my office that sees and meets all my clients to review those life insurances and also financials. When can we meet? Sometime this week? Are you available this week?
Gosh, actually I am. I'm home on vacation right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, my financial expert can either come to your house or you can come to our office. I mean, I would love to see you if you want to come to the office and we can go over that. Now, I would like for you to bring the State Farm policy because at no charge, we'll review that as well to make sure you have the correct coverages. So tell me what's a good day.
Perfect. So I think you did an awesome job there. I liked your enthusiasm. First off, you were very smooth. It was very natural. I don't know, Jason. What input do you want to give on this?
You hit the nail on the head. Maria is a very natural, and she's been doing a phenomenal job for years. And I think her passion and her enthusiasm that she just showed over the phone is rare for most people. I will say that. But that's the key, is having the passion and the enthusiasm when talking to people instead of just sounding like a dud, for that matter, if that makes sense. You've got to.
I do have a comment, Jason. What I tell my staff, because they don't, they're not, some of them are not licensed for life and health, is just like you bundle of renters and you ask for that renters, why don't you ask, for the life? It's the same thing. It's a bundle. And if if Judd would have given me a harder time, I would have said also, there's also additional discounts on your auto policy. We really need to discuss your insurance, your life insurance with State Farm. I might be able to save you some money elsewhere. That 5% discount.
Yeah. So, 5% is 5%, but what you just said, Maria, is you followed the lead of the client there based on the answers to the question. You didn't have to go into further detail. And the point I will make right there, don't oversell products. Don't oversell the situation. Don't overtalk the situation. As Maria did a phenomenal job there, she kept it simple and did not try and go too far or talk too much. She got to the point, the client in this situation, and she didn't. And don't lose sight of that. So, again, great job.
Thank you. Jason just said something I want to hit on real quick too, and we'll wrap up here in a second. But I am not a fan of slinging product. And while Go for No may seem like we're pushing life, again, I don't find any wrong in pushing life. That's what we sell. We need to be offering it. It's an easy process to follow to generate conversation. But what we're trying to do here is get an appointment. Now it's up to whoever holds that appointment. If you're writing life yourself, more power to you. If you're using an EFS, whatever works for your office, all we're doing right now is trying to pivot to an appointment. In that appointment, hopefully we do holistic financial planning. We're using opportunities to find every available asset or a tool that's necessary for the customer. So for me, and that's something we can talk about later on as well, I use life appointments as an opportunity to uncover assets. That's why I would love to see that State Farm policy come in the office so we can start having that conversation. Is how did you develop the need for this policy? What assets do you have? Let's make sure I use that phrase a lot. Let's make sure you don't have more coverage than you need. And I'm positioning myself on their team. But backing all this up, the whole point of this call today was to talk about Go for the No. Go for No, when I first started using it, I did not realize there was a book actually called Go for No. If you guys have not read the book, I encourage you to do so. It's the same concept of just learning that no's are just one small step to a yes. And once the staff, once we ourselves can understand that the no is not the end of the world, the no is one more opportunity we have to get a yes, our perspective changes greatly. And
Hey, Judd.
That, Jason, your show.
So with what Judd said, I want to say this. I've heard many excuses before that, well, when's the right time to ask? Is there a perfect time to ask? At the end of the day, you not asking was the wrong time not to ask. Because what are you going to do when you find out that somebody just got diagnosed with cancer, somebody just became uninsurable, and if you would have asked at the appropriate time, we could have given them the opportunity to get them coverage of some kind. The key is we will never know unless we ask. So I highly encourage everybody, just ask. Don't worry about the response. You will stumble for a while. We will learn more from our mistakes than we will ever our praises. I'll be the first to tell you that. So again, don't be afraid to ask, because without asking, you'll never know. I'm going to leave you with a story. Judd said something about a story. One of my very best friends, who I talk to, he knows what I do. I can sleep easy at night. Why? Because I've asked. I've told them what I do. I can't control whether somebody does anything. Just got a sad story, a call last week, as their 21-year-old son was just diagnosed with testicular cancer. This cancer was removed, and we just got the oncology report yesterday that it spread between the kidneys, lungs, and liver. There is nothing we can do to Brittany's, I believe it was Brittany earlier that asked about cancer. All we can do is be there, hold their hand, and comfort them through this hard process. Don't put yourself in a hard process by not asking. If you ask, you will be able to sleep easy at night because you at least did your job. I will turn it back over to Judd, and I just want to personally thank everybody for the participation and personally apologize again for our Zoom issues today. Hopefully moving forward with our future Zoom calls and other calls, there will be no limit to 100 people. We assure you of that. We will get that issue fixed. So, Judd.
Thank you. I just, same thing. Just want to thank you all. Apologize again for technology, and not my stronghold at all. So that's why we've got help. But thank you for your enthusiasm. 3 years ago, when I started using this idea of compensating staff for no's, I didn't realize it would take off like it has. And it's really cool. I've had many of you stop me last week in Germany, call and share with us success stories of how this is working. To me, it's just simple. We ask, we get an answer. The story I'll share with you in closing is when I learned about Go for No was when I was 1 year into this business. I was in the front seat of a pickup truck with one of my clients. He was a large contractor here a general contractor here in town. And I was out for a drive with him one day, and we stopped for gas. And his competition was filling up their truck across the way. He said, "I'll be right back." He went over and talked to two of the gentlemen, came back, and I said, what was that about? And he said, "I just hired those two guys to come work for me." I said, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "No, they know what they're doing. I hired them." I said, "You had the guts to ask?" And he said, "Judd, the answer is always no if you don't ask." And that has stuck with me. There's nothing wrong with asking. But when we don't ask, we're not going to get the answer we want. So we just have to open our mouth. And if it's a matter of getting my daughter to swing a baseball bat or a softball bat by paying her and watching her finally hit a home run, those are the rewards that come from asking. So we're here to develop habit. We're here to ask. We're here to change lives. And in the end, we're here to help people protect their families. Thank you for joining us, Jason Hughes, Jason Woodard. I appreciate your help. And Woody, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, well, again, thanks for everybody. Sorry for the technical issues. As Jason Hughes had mentioned, we will absolutely get that fixed for our next call. But again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or issues, please throw a post up on the page. We'll have a good edited video of this posted within 24 hours, and we'll also have a couple of handouts posted as well. So if you guys have any questions, let us know.